You are welcome to chapter 4 of the Lekki Headmaster. Here we are going to be analyzing the chapter 4, the summary of the chapter 4 in this video. Now, this chapter 4 is titled A Case of Visa Denied. A case of this visa denied. Beppo was about to say his night prayer when the phone rang. When he looked at the caller, it was Mrs. Ignatius. He wondered why she would be calling him so late at night. Mrs. Ignatius is a parent of a student at Stardom School. Beppo was not happy that this woman had to call him every time to discuss even her marital affairs with him. He responded rather angrily and asked her if it was not too late for the call. He felt that Mrs. Ignatius was taking his friendliness for granted and hated that. Beppo, on previous occasion, had told Mrs. Ignatius to have a lot of patience to let the wound heal. Besides, she had wronged her husband, and the man had every right to be upset. What happened was that the Ignatius family had been planning to relocate to London. Mr. Ibe Ignatius, her husband, was a manager in an oil company, but he became fed up and needed to japa. Mrs. Ignatius greatly loved japa idea. She had learned tailoring and hairdressing, including the traditional Yoruba irudidi, having understood that the craft fetched a lot of money in UK. When the visa processing reached an advanced stage of DNA test, Mr. Ibe realized that out of his 3 children, Favor, a 15-year-old SS2 girl, was not his child. After this discovery, the family had not remained the same again. Mrs. Ignatius explained to Mr. Beppo that her husband still does not believe that she did not cheat on him, and he had told them to leave the house and go and meet the father of the child. Beppo was equally set for his relocation. At least he will rest from Mrs. Ignatius' disturbance. Beppo thought over his experience in Stardom and hoped that someday he will write them in a book. He remembered the sacking of Mr. Ayesoro, the government teacher. Mrs. Mary Ladele relaxed on the sofa watching a Nollywood movie. It was a movie about romance. In fact, romance was one of her best movies she loved to enjoy, and that was why she became a fan of Z-World until she watched a Nigerian romance movie, and since then she had had great interest in Nollywood movies. It was around 1 p.m. Her 3 children had gone to bed. Dele, her husband, has traveled to Abuja. In the movie, a female doctor, Dr. Ajayi, was about to conduct a cesarean section on Bimbo. Now, Bimbo was her close friend. What made the film interesting for Mrs. Ladele was that the doctor, unknown to her, that her husband was responsible for Bimbo's pregnancy. As they were about to show where the truth was revealed, she heard a scream. It was her little baby, Bibi. So she ran to her room and carried her in her arms. Bibi said she saw Mr. Wala, whose real name is Mr. Ayesoro, the government teacher. The student had named him Mr. Owala because of his scary tribal marks. Bibi was so scared of his face that she was removed from the greenhouse she shared with Mr. Ayesoro. Mrs. Ladele complained bitterly to the school. She complained bitterly to the school management, and to avoid losing Bibi and her siblings to another private school, the management had to transfer Mr. Ayesoro to Stardom Hub, the property wing of Stardom Group of Companies. So this is the end of the chapter 4 summary. We hope that you paid much attention. Please, I want you to always jot down some points that I am emphasizing on each time I am presenting this video. This will help you to be able to remember when you are writing the exam and be able to know what happened in each of the scene. So do join us in the chapter 5 as we review the chapter 5 for your clearer understanding. Thank you and God bless you.